Hello everyone, my name is Rob, welcome to Kinetic Rugby League, and this is my Super League Round 19 tips and predictions video. So let's get started. Starting off this week, we have St Helens at home against the Catalan Dragons. In terms of form, they've both won 4 in the last 5. St Helens are in 3rd place, Catalans are in 1st place right now. So, Catalans had an unexpected loss last week against the Giants. Saints had a close encounter against Warrington. I really thought Saints were just going to run away with that game, but it was a strong effort from Wire. I do think this is going to be an extremely competitive game. St Helens have really started to find their groove the last couple of weeks. Paul Wellams might have really sort of, got it together now. And they're not as vulnerable, I guess. But the Catalans, I do think they'll come out, turn things around this week. I do think it'll be a really close game, quite back and forth as well. I think ultimately Catalans will probably just do it in the end. So I'm going to go with St Helens 20, Catalan Dragons 24. Next up we have the Huddersfield Giants at home against Wakefield Trinity. Starting with form, Huddersfield have only won 1 in the last 5. Wakefield have actually won 3 in the last 5. Would you believe it? Huddersfield are in 10th, Wakefield are in 12th. Now, the question is it time to finally back Trinity? I can't do it. I can't do it yet, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I just can't. However, it doesn't mean that they can't win this game, because they absolutely can. I thought Wigan were going to smash them last week, and they didn't. So, Huddersfield are strong on paper. I've said this every week. Huddersfield is strong on paper, and they're a little bit up and down. There's a real good feel around Wakefield at the moment, but again, I just can't do it. And I think even Wakefield fans would understand that. I just can't back Wakefield yet. I think if they were to win this game, even though Huddersfield are only 10th, maybe I could start looking at Wakefield having some bigger upsets. We will see, but I just can't do it yet. Not just yet. So I'm going to go with Huddersfield 26, Wakefield 22. Next up we have Leeds Rhinos at home against Kingston Rovers. Starting with form, Leeds have won 3 in the last 5. Hull KR have won 1 in the last 5. Leeds are in 7th, Hull KR are in 8th. So it's a really strong win for Leeds last week against a decent Salford side. Close game. I do think Hull KR have, they have really been struggling. The loss of Lachlan Coote didn't help. They've had plenty of weeks without Jordan Abdul. It's really unfortunate for them. But they are a team that does know how to score. They've got some real quality players in there. Mikey Lewis has improved throughout the season. Sean Kenny-Dowell knows how to score. Knows how to create chances. So I think Hull KR will be fine getting points. But Leeds are just on a different level compared to Hull KR right now. Their form is decent. They've started finding that consistency. So I think it's not going to be an astronomical gap between the two teams, but I think it'll be quite an obvious one. So I'm going to go with Leeds 28, Hull KR 18. Now, we move on to Wigan versus Warrington. I had Wigan to win and Warrington to lose. Warrington could have won the game, and Wigan should have won the game. As a Warrington fan, it's difficult not to provide bias on these predictions. I try and be as unbiased as possible. So I'm thinking Warrington played really well last week. They put in a really good performance creatively. We looked a lot better. Still lacking a little bit in some areas, the kicking game especially, but the creative side of things will look better. Wigan, they gave up a lead they shouldn't have given up to a team that they shouldn't have given it up to. I do think one thing that they need to start doing, I think Cade Cust is fit, so one thing they need to stop doing is playing Bevan French at number 6. He's amazing. I would take Bevan French in a heartbeat, but go back to your original team. Field at fullback, Cust at 6, Smith at 7, Powell at 9, Bevan French on the wing. Go back to your typical team. Let Cade Cust come back in. I don't know why they keep putting him on the bench. I don't get it. So both teams right now are extremely vulnerable. But I do think if last week is an indication of how this game's going to go, I think Warrington put in a really strong fight. Wigan, I think, for most teams, will be clear favourites on this one, and they'll just think that the Wakefield game was a bit of a setback because, you know, Wakefield's becoming a bit of a maybe bogey team, however you want to see it, you know, for certain teams at the moment. But I do think there's a real strong challenge to be had from Warrington. The one thing I think that we need to start doing more of is shifting the ball early, like in our own 10 and 20. And I'm not just saying that because of the try that like the Dufty try against Saints last week, but like we've done it a couple times this season and we've looked dangerous. Like there's Dufty, Thulis, Wrench, and Ashton. That's a rapid team. And assuming that George Williams is available, he could have, you know, been the difference last week. So I think if last week's an indication, I think Warrington have a slight edge. We can go to Wigan Stadium and just tip the scales this time round. But there is also the ability to just throw it all away. Really strong performance at home against Saints and then just throw it all away. But I'm going to back my team this week in a very strong, classic Warrington-Wigan game. So I'm going to go with Wigan 16, Warrington 18. Next up, we have Hull FC at home against Castleford Tigers. In terms of form, Hull have won 3 in the last 5. Castleford have only won 2 in the last 5. Hull are in 9th. Castleford are in 11th. There's not too much to say on this one, aside from Hull FC have looked really good the last couple of weeks. Castleford have been, you know, okay to bad the last couple of weeks. I think Hull's really found the form that I expected them to sort of have early on. With their squad on paper, they look like a playoff team on paper. And they didn't really have that early on, but they've really started to find it. And I always sort of trusted Tony Smith to kind of, you know, work well with Hull FC. And, you know, players like Tex Hoy and Jake Clifford are, you know, they're decent NRL players, and they've come into a league that is, of course, a lower standard, but they're really starting to find their form and to show what they're capable of as, you know, young talented players. So I think this is an opportunity for Hull to really put in another statement win, and that's kind of how I'm feeling about this one. I think it's going to be a really strong performance. I don't think Castleford's going to be held to 0, but maybe 1 or 2 tries this week. So I'm going to go with a very strong win of Hull FC 40, Castleford Tigers 12. Finally, for this week, we have Salford Red Devils at home against Leigh Leopards. Starting with form, Salford have only won 2 in the last 5. Leigh have won 4 in the last 5. In terms of league position, Salford are in 6th, Leigh are in 2nd. Now, you know, based on form, you could say that Leigh would be miles ahead, but Salford do have the ability to break teams down in attack. Defensively, they've not been great. I think of all the teams with a positive points difference, I think they've got the lowest one of like plus 22, something like that. So I do feel that there's a fairly competitive game to be had here. I think Salford at home could put up a good fight, but I think Leigh will be too strong in the end. Nothing over the top. Again, I feel it'll be a little bit like Leeds and Hull Kingston Rovers, where it's not going to be an astronomical gap, but the gap will be obvious. So I'm going to go with Salford 18, Leigh 26. So that's going to be it for this video. If you have any predictions for this round, let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know how you got on last week. Also, I do apologise about my voice. I don't know what's happened. It has suddenly disappeared. I can't speak properly. I can't speak. But we move. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.